Ryan Willis calling that 1-0 as a joke. It's a men's quarterfinal match between Nikolai Nahorniak and Emmett Peixoto. We are at the KCAC, the Ektelon Wph Fireball Classic. My name is Dave Vincent, alongside my broadcast partner, David Fink.
Nice start there from Nikolai. Big power serve down the left and a nice left corner kill. These guys actually look like twins out there, Dave. Both in the black trunks. Bear top. That's right, I said bear.
The sun is really dangerous. Looking up, you're looking right into the sun. Nice shot right there from Nikolai Nahorniak.
This is the match, Dave, that I'm really looking forward to. This is one of the great young up-and-coming players in the three-wall game. Nikolai Nahorniak against the champion, the best three-wall player in the world right now.
3 plays 0.
You hear the score, 3 serves 0. First quarterfinal match of the morning.
And that's the ability Emmett has right there, David.
To come back deep, but unfortunately for him, Nikolai Nahorniak cut that off. Now 4-0.
Nikolai's played 4 perfect points here, Dave, to start this match. Absolutely flawless handball, and there's another perfect shot. He sends Emmett out the back door. That's a nice play there from Emmett.
Uh-oh. A little congestion there. Nikolai is the USHA 4-wall collegiate national champion right now.
2-time defending.
4 plays 0.
Beat his teammate Sun Lee both times in the final. You know, Dave, a lot of times we see the top players start a little bit slowly, work their way into the match. Right now, Emmett looks to me like he's playing pretty well. Nikolai's just playing perfect handball right now. And Dave, you know, we've seen this quite a bit. When the server gets in there on a roll, he's going to score a number of points in bunches. That's really the outdoor game.
Second serve.
This is the first game. 2 games to 21, tiebreaker to 11. That's not going to make the front wall, and another point now.
It's a second serve from Nick Nahorniak. He hit that ball about 2 inches from the back line with a hop on it, hopped it right into that left side wall.
Score is 6-0. We hear the call from the referee. We now have the referee mic'd up today, Dave. You might hear a little difference through your headphones there. Slight difference.
Emmett fortunate there, Davey. Brings back that deep serve, and Nikolai just barely misses that.
That's a nice return from Nikolai.
I'll tell you, Dave, if Nikolai keeps up this kind of pace, this kind of shot making, it's going to be...
Wow.
Point.
That's just missed by Nikolai. This is going to be a brutal match for Emmett.
1 plays 6.
The score is 1-6.
Let's keep in mind, Dave, that this is just a quarterfinal match. Emmett being pushed here, the #1 player in the game.
6 plays 1.
Emmett missing a pretty easy fly kill there with his right hand. You saw him wince and grab his right shoulder. We know he does have some right shoulder pain.
Second serve.
It seems to affect him most, Dave, when he's shooting the ball.
Oh, nice shot. Nice dig from Emmett. And look at that shot right there with the left hand from Nikolai.
7 plays 1.
You know, Dave,
Score is 7-1.
just 11 in the morning here in the Central Time. Not a lot of people here yet. Last night we had the bleachers completely filled. Tonight, though, a little bit of a late arriving crowd. I think people not really expecting this kind of match. You and I both did, Dave, having known what kind of player Nikolai is.
1 plays 7.
1 serve 7. This is the first game. Emmett Peixoto serving to Nikolai, and he gets that. Just squelches off the front wall. I saw it good. Emmett didn't think it was.
It looked like it made it.
I think that's a good call right
Emmett
there.
actually has the best look at that ball. Very difficult. We can't see that at all, Dave, from back here because of that shadow.
Plays 1.
Another good serve from Nikolai. Now that's 8-1.
It's just very impressive right now, Dave. Nick Nahorniak. Just
not rattled. He's playing the national champion. You're right.
And I'll tell you, Dave, we've watched a lot of Emmett in the past, and Emmett looked really ready to go this morning in the warm-ups. He was cracking the ball, hitting the ball really hard. had that real serious look on his face because he knew he was in for a match, and Nikolai is just taking it to him right now.
9 serves 1.
That's the shot I don't like that Emmett hits right there, Dave, and that's a habit he's gotten into in the last year and a half or 2 years. He takes that setup with his right hand and fists that ball. I've seen him make a lot of mistakes with that fist. He never puts that ball away.
Nick is the first one to 10 points here. 10-1 is the score. This is the first game, men's quarterfinal match between Nikolai Nahorniak and Emmett Peixoto.
Look at that strength. That's out.
Oh.
Dave, you and I don't have to worry about hitting that ball out with our offhands. Nikolai just with a flick. Nikolai's serve is cooled off here, Dave, in the last 2 or 3 serves. He's catching that left side wall, which is...
Scores 1-10.
That's a great serve. Just deep, though. You know, Dave, this ball is so fast. You have to actually take a little bit off your serve to keep that ball from floating long. Look at that strength.
Look at that power right
Just
there.
incredible. And Emmett does well with that ball.
But look what Nick does. He steps in and takes that. Most players like to take that on the bounce up. Nick's actually attacking that.
Incredible. Just incredible playing.
10 serves 1 here. Oh, good. Just in.
I love that shot there from Nikolai, pushing that.
And that's a miss hit right there. He's been making those early. Score is 1-10. You're watching the Wph Ektelon Fireball Kcac 3-Wall Classic, Kansas City, Kansas. My name is Dave Vincent alongside Dave Fink. Beautiful Saturday morning here in the heartland of America.
Nikolai Nahorniak advancing here, Dave, with a tiebreaker win over Eric Hilgrim yesterday.
You know, you can't.
And Nikolai looks more sharp here than he did against Eric Hilgrim.
Absolutely.
That ball's just barely in. Nice serve from Emmett Peixoto. Hits that corner.
That was a second serve, too, Dave. You know, we talked about that yesterday. Sean Lenning talking about how he just goes for it on a second serve, goes for even more. And I think you have to do that against these top players. You can't afford to just put that ball in play.
Ah, that's 2 straight points for Emmett Peixoto.
Emmett has enough experience, Dave, where he knows that he can withstand a hot streak from his challengers and still get himself back into the game. Nikolai came out just playing perfect handball there for the first 11 points of this match.
Second serve.
Scores 3-10, second serve.
That's a nice return there.
That sun's brutal, Dave.
Oh, Dave, you actually played on this court just about a half an hour ago, and
it's unbelievably hard to see a ball. In fact, it's hard to execute a ceiling shot when you're right in that, near the dotted line area. You look up to hit the ball and you just can't see it. Just executing a shot, not trying to hit a ball coming down, but
almost like the afternoon baseball games when the pitcher's throwing from the shadow into the sun. And I think, Dave, that could have been what happened there. That ball came from the shadow to the sun right into Emmett. Didn't look like he saw that ball that well. I don't think it was a screen serve. I think the sun had a lot to do with that.
11 plays 3.
11-3.
That's a better serve there from Nikolai. Emmett does well with that. Oh, it's just an incredible shot there, Dave, from Nikolai. That's one of the first mistakes he's made. And there's that fist. Emmett has a chance to put that ball away down the right, and he doesn't. You know, Dave, to this point, Emmett, beautiful. That's a great shot right there from Emmett. Emmett actually being overpowered here.
It's like we're watching 2 Emmets out there.
3 plays 11.
3 serves 11. The number 1 seed, Emmett Peixoto, that was sort of a neat little head fake. Emmett had Nick leaning to the left.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on it.
Almost a screen.
No.
4 plays
You saw
11.
Nick asking.
Nick was going the wrong way.
Here's the setup.
There's a good shot there from Emmett. Now Emmett, after being thoroughly outplayed, finds himself trailing just 5-11 here, well within striking distance.
Well, that's the first setup that Emmett's had where he didn't use a fist shot to get himself out of it.
11.
5 serves 11. Nice serve right there.
Emmett's got a much better serve outside than he does inside. Really one of his biggest weaknesses in 4-wall is his serve. We saw, though, Dave, in 1-wall, Emmett very effective hitting that serve. Also very effective out here.
Point.
Nick's going to have to call timeout here if Emmett scores another point.
7 plays 11.
7 serves 11, first game.
And it looks like he's got his legs under him now. Nikolai's cooled down just a little bit. I'm surprised Nikolai didn't shoot that ball.
These balls are all staying up. Oh my gosh, so tough to see that. You know, it looks bad when a pro player swings and misses, but right in that area, that's what I'm telling you, Dave. Right there, it's impossible to see that ball.
You know, that ball had a strange spin on it, too. It hit the ceiling, front wall, side wall, and sort of came out at a strange angle. And
11 plays 7.
it's just one of those strange shots.
11 serves 7 here. Nikolai Nahorniak from the Chicago area.
You see, Dave, that both these players really going as their serve goes. Nikolai started off with a great serve and followed it up with some brilliant deep shot making and some great fly kills. Emmett was able to get his serve going, got himself 5-6 consecutive points. That ball's in. Here's a setup.
So you have to execute those. If you're going to beat Emmett, you're going to have to execute every single one of those opportunities.
Nick moving far too casually to get himself in position to hit that setup. He needed to take much bigger steps. And you see, Dave, just what missing a setup can do. Instead of winning that point, getting the 13th point, Emmett comes in, immediately scores a quick one. Now 2. That's a 3-point swing, and it's not over yet, Dave. You can't give...
Emmett's starting to settle in here, too, with that serve. Down the right wall, and then he comes back, busts an ace over to the left, 9-12.
You know, Dave, Nikolai is playing 3-wall pretty much every day in the Chicago area. Emmett does not play much 3-wall. Even though he is the 3-wall national champion, he's got those Emmett Park courts just in his backyard in Watsonville. He doesn't live in Watsonville, though, anymore, so really hasn't played much 3-wall. I think Emmett's just trying to get himself acclimated to back into the game, and I can see him getting more and more comfortable with each point. It's not to say that Nikolai doesn't still have a great chance to win. Nikolai is playing some phenomenal handball here. Tremendous two-handed power with a great serve. You've seen Nikolai miss 5 or 6 setups, Dave, that have really made a huge difference here, including that setup he missed at 13-7.
Yeah. Cut myself on a can.
Brought Emmett back into the service box where Emmett scored 3 consecutive points.
It's a beautiful picture of my wife, actually, on the live webcast there. Seems the cameraman doesn't realize.
That's fine. I'm going to fold it.
Well, you know cameramen, they like to scan for the most beautiful ladies.
Looked over, and there she was, just sitting there. We're here in beautiful Kansas City, Kansas, at the 3-wall courts for the Wph Ektelon Fireball Handball Classic. 3-wall variety this time, alongside Dave Fink, Omar Lemus on the camera. My name is Dave Vincent. Welcome.
Here we go. 10 plays 12.
Score is now 10-12. Emmett once down 11-1. Now make that 11-12. It's on an 11-1 run.
Yeah, I'm going to play that over.
For the
it looks like it.
national champion's going to play that over.
Hey, change gloves, please.
Now we're going to have a glove change.
I actually thought Emmett just changed his gloves. Apparently he didn't, though.
Sometimes, it gets that spin, but that one definitely looked like it took off.
I think it was called a bad bounce. They're going to play that 10-12 over. I thought it was a great-looking serve, no matter
I agree.
if it was a bad bounce or not. You're tuned into this live webcast with Dave Fink and Dave Vincent. Omar Lemus right here on the camera. Thank you for tuning in to this event today on the computer. It's a Saturday morning for you, or maybe it's afternoon now, wherever you're tuned in. Thank you for watching at WPHLive.tv.
Surprising, Dave, that we see that last call there, Emmett hitting what looked like a beautiful natural, just about 2 inches from that back line. That ball hopped away from the court, and our referee and Nikolai both saw a slide or some sort of skip.
But you see no complaining from Emmett Peixoto there, who could have easily have said something, but he's letting it play through, which is always good. Beautiful day out here as we celebrate the men's quarterfinal match. Yesterday it was Emmett Peixoto getting past Will Limp 14-2. Eric Kilgren losing to Nikolai Nahorniak. That's what's created this. Nick beat Eric after losing the first game 21-20. Goes on to win the second game 21-10, and then wins the tiebreaker 11-1. That's what created this one.
Nikolai really went into three-wall mode there after losing that first game. Talked to Dane, Nikolai's coach. Dane's a veteran. These young guys really look up to Dane. Dane said, he just finally started playing three-wall there in that second game. Kept Eric in the backcourt and forced him to hit a lot of balls over his shoulder. Eric far less comfortable from that position.
10 plays 12.
10 serves 12. They are replaying that last one.
That was an interesting shot.
Almost looked like it was open hand, not a fist. But it carried like a fist.
Point.
That's just a very difficult try there, Dave. And you can say that Nikolai's making unforced errors, but when you're trying to fly the ball from 33 feet on a ball that comes at you with that much pace, that's a shot that is really one of Emmett's bread and butters right there. Sort of an open stance, left-handed kill off the middle of the front wall. I'm surprised he missed that.
Well, those fly kills from Nikolai, I'm more impressed that he's even trying to do them, because it takes a lot of moxie to do that out here against a national champ. Going for it again. Emmett digs it out. This time he tomahawks it down in.
That was right on the line. I had a great view at
I
it.
see Nikolai getting a little bit more anxious, Dave, than he was in the beginning of this game. He looks like he's trying to play a little bit beyond his comfort zone. He's shooting the ball from deeper than I saw him shoot it from in the beginning, taking some more chances, which I don't think he needs to do. His serve also has really declined here in the middle of this first game. He's caught that left side wall the majority of the time since building that 10-1 lead.
13-10 is the score here. Second serve. I like that serve right there. Emmett gets it back, doesn't make it to the front wall.
Excellent serve there. It looked like that ball was going to reverse, Dave, but it actually hopped into the left side wall with a natural.
You don't have to have amazingly huge hops out here in order to be effective. You just have to make it meet the side wall where your opponent is.
That's not a very good shot from Emmett, but gets away with it.
A lot of little hand errors from Nikolai.
Not that, though, Dave.
That was beautiful.
Great shot. And Emmett makes a great shot as well. Emmett waits on that ball to hop.
I like this here.
That ball's going to be out.
Yeah, you didn't let it bounce. $15 plays 11.
Really, the only liability in Nikolai's game, Dave, is his footwork.
That's out.
I've seen him a little bit slow to get himself in position to hit some kills, and also a little bit slow to react to some of Emmett's serves. But other than that, Dave, he's been rock solid here.
15-11, second serve.
That's a very good return in three-wall, Dave. That front wall, side wall return is out. Okay.
I'm going to catch this one.
Good call.
Wasn't bad, huh?
Well, you called your shot.
I called it, and then I grabbed it.
11 plays 15.
Good serve from Emmett, and a rollout from Nikolai Nahorniak.
Unlucky there from Emmett.
Yours?
That was a nice short serve there.
15-11.
That's not a good serve there from Nikolai, but he had enough hop on it
That should be played over.
I'm surprised, Dave, that we don't see Nikolai use the head fake and go down the right. He served every serve deep left. He's had a lot of success with it, but that's really the strength of Emmett's game, Dave, is his left hand.
But it sets up shots like that, and I think Nick's more comfortable shooting with his right. He did roll out a ball early with his left, and I think he likes to step in and do kind of more of that Dave Chapman style of bang to the left and kill with the right.
Well, I think that serve, Dave, would be a lot more effective if he can get Emmett at least thinking that he might be going to the right. Just catch Emmett a step or two off and then fire that serve back down the left. Emmett won't be as quick to cover that serve to the left.
I'm surprised here.
16.
Nick is in the driver's seat, and he has lazy legs on a time when he has an open shot.
Well, I think that's just part of Nick's maturity process. He's just 19 or 20 years old. And I think that's going to be something that's going to come in the next couple of years. Understanding the importance of those short adjustment steps.
Point.
I'm surprised he didn't take that ball with his right, Dave. He blocked it. He did pin Emmett,
but it's a tough shot.
Right.
You have to be perfect.
And that's the serve I'm talking about right there, Dave. You see Emmett's been serving down the left. Nikolai's leaning left, and Emmett serves that ball straight down the right wall.
13 plays 16.
13 serves 16.
That's Emmett just missing the ceiling there. That would have been a winning
shot. Another ball. There's going to be a timeout call here from Nikolai if he keeps making mistakes like that. 14-16 is the score here.
You know, Dave, this match very similar to the match we watched last night. The upset, Andy Nett taking out Alan Garner. Andy Nett leading throughout that entire first game. Alan Garner caught him at 17. We thought at that point Alan would just sort of take control of the match, but it didn't happen. We've seen Nikolai with a comfortable 5 to 7 point lead here throughout this first game. Emmett now coming back. But as we saw last night, Dave, these underdogs, these challengers are not afraid to take down the top dogs. That's just not a good shot there from Nikolai.
Emmett's on a 14-5 run. Timeout call from Nikolai Nahorniak here. You're watching the men's quarterfinal match of the Wph Ektelon Fireball Handball 3-Wall Classic in Kansas City, Kansas, alongside my color commentator today, David Fink, and camera operator Omar Lemus. My name is Dave Vincent. It was a good day yesterday. You missed the match. You left because you're preparing for your quarterfinals, but Dane Zatkowski and Ryan Willis, the referee here, they played last night, scored 21-19, 21-17. Absolutely amazing handball between those two. Dane is regarded as one of the better 3-wall players that has ever played at these courts, and he found a big challenge last night. And then Andy Nett defeated Alan Garner by the score of 21-18, 21-12. So we have Nett versus Zatkowski after this one to finish off the upper bracket quarterfinal after the conclusion of the Peixoto-Nahorniak match.
Yeah, Ryan Willis, Dave, really one of those up-and-coming young players. He plays out of St. Louis. He's a graduate of Missouri State, and his game has been on the...
you would say it's on the rise, but
Thank you.
But it's
that's what I was trying to say.
15-16 here, and it's certainly after that accident that he had, but we'll talk more about that at a later time. Emmett Peixoto is the server of record here.
I like that shot there from Emmett.
And now we're tied at 16. It's the first time we've been tied since 0-0.
16 plays 16.
And now the first lead for Emmett. You see Nikolai just reaching at that ball with his left hand rather than taking one or two extra steps to get himself in position, just sort of lunges at that ball. And that's a recipe for a lot of mistakes.
Here's a setup for Emmett.
Ender. Play no.
Nikolai misses a big chance there.
Well, it was a hinder ball. It's really tough to
17
swing where you want to swing on that. Good serve from Emmett. Dig back from Nikolai.
Ender.
Oh, that's tough.
That could have been an avoidable.
If you're going to call a hinder, you call an avoidable on the same shot. If that's a hinder, it's an avoidable.
You know, Dave, you'll notice during Nikolai's run, Emmett was in the back court during every rally. Now Emmett firmly in control in that front court. Now we see Nikolai pushing Emmett back.
I like that. This is where Emmett's the best.
Well,
oh my gosh.
That's a great shot there from Emmett.
Did you see the... Actually, both of them are making great shots. This is good handball here.
Well, you know, Nikolai hit a nice shot there from about 20 feet behind the back line, and Emmett takes that ball out of the air and
18 plays 16.
And kills it.
First game, 18-16. Emmett is serving. It's hard to tell the two apart on the live webcast.
Not a good shot there from Emmett.
Ooh, that ball skips in.
You hear Emmett complaining about the court structure here.
It's actually the best ceiling of a 3-wall court I've ever seen.
Screen clear, hold up.
That's not a good call there.
I don't see how that's a screen. Nick wants that back. The other serves that Emmett's been putting on Nick have been brutal. That one was the only one he really wants. I'd take a screen from Emmett right now.
Point.
Nikolai just showing a lot of signs of nerves right now, pulling his head out on a pretty easy shot there. It just completely took his eye off the ball.
20 plays 16.
Didn't look like the right shot
There it is, game point, serve 16, and Emmett just closed it, short ball, sorry.
And it went for that short left crack there.
They got it.
Yeah.
And Emmett takes that first game 21-16. Peixoto taking down Nahorniak in that first game and gets a round of applause from the crowd. We are going to take a quick break here. You're watching the Wph Ektelon Fireball 3-Wall Classic here in Kansas City, Kansas.
Emmett will be happy to get a game like that under his belt. He was pushed there. He had to play from behind. He played against a real tough 3-wall player there, and he found his comfort zone there.
Yeah, he's certainly happy about being able to come back and show everybody. Now he's back into the groove of playing handball. So good for Emmett on that comeback. But also, I think Nikolai has shown us a little bit that he's a future 3-wall champion. We're going to take a quick break here at the courts in Kansas City at the KCAC. For Dave Fink and Omar Lemus, my name is Dave Vincent. You stick with us. We'll be back in just a bit.
Well, we got it in 2000 or 2000. Going to Arizona. Yeah, I'm going to Arizona. Mikey.
Great. How you doing?
I'm doing okay, Fred.
Where's your daughters? I want to meet your kids. Are they here?
I got the better feeling. They're 15 and here, 13 and here.
No, they want to be with their friends. They want to go to the mall.
What's going on, Dane?
Good morning.
I actually feel really good today. I don't know why. I'm not used to that.
Had a little back sore, arms are fine, but man, the lower body.
Yeah.
Looking forward to seeing daytime. No more hitting ceilings on me. I think both of us were hoping the other guy would shoot it from 55 feet in front of us.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping every morning. Shoot away.
Yeah.
You roll over to you, otherwise.
I painted the room, I put him up to another house, put it in there, so she had her house. I said, well, we want the same colors as I painted it. Got up there,
All the way through my gloves are 2 points there.
I got my certification K-12, but I didn't go to get my adaptive PE because I'm getting ready to retire. I'll be 62 and I'm done. I've got 26, 27 years in.
I'm 62. How come I ain't retired?
You'll get there. No, I can't. That's a little far of a drive for me.
The coach and I'll drive the bank.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, geez.
But, yeah, it's
Get him on your staff.
I tell you the same thing the head coach gets.
He could tell stories to the kids that they're so motivated to be out of their mind.
You can tell them after them, you say,
I just wanted to let you know what you said.
we were playing doubles outside. Way Oh, yeah, that was about 20 years ago. You just started playing.
I'm trying to make sure that you get better.
Until somebody kicks me out, I guess.
Emmett, he came back and won. He was 21-19, 18.
Oh, yeah. What's up, brother?
What's up, man?
What time did you wrap it up last night?
I have no clue.
That's what Nick said.
The time we got escorted to the room by the hotel cops, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
After we boom, boom, boom at my dad's store.
There when I checked in, and I thought, I wonder if those guys ever have to do anything. Sure enough.
Yeah, they're not just hotel cops. They have guns and everything. I was like, they're not just like mall cops. They have guns and everything. Like, so they must be real police, I guess. Yeah.
Probably make like $6 an hour. Yeah.
And we are back live from the Kansas City Athletic Club. The Wph Ektelon Fireball Classic. 3-wall variety this time with Emmett Peixoto serving to Nikolai Nahorniak. Emmett wins the first game 21-16.
0 plays 0.
Emmett actually trailed 10-1 there in that first game, trailed 6-0 before getting in the server's box. Emmett's clearly established all the momentum there in this match in the latter part of that first game. That's a nice shot there from Nikolai.
Should be a setup here. Nick going back deep.
That's a setup for Nikolai. You see Nikolai, Dave, and on that setup there, Dave, he had plenty of time. He did not back up enough. He caught that ball off his back foot just a little bit behind him. You know, you can get away with hitting shots like that, Dave, against some of the lesser players, but if you're playing the top player in the world or one of those top players, you just can't get enough on that ball. Sounded like that ball broke. I think there's a spot on that front wall, Dave, that's a little bit dead, and it's about 3 feet high in the middle. Makes it sound like the ball actually broke. Great return there from Emmett.
It's practically ungettable.
You know, Dave, I talked to Fred Lewis one time, and we were talking about 4-wall strategy. He said you got to hit your 2-wall passes, hit the sidewall behind your opponent. That applies in 3-wall as well. If you can hit that hard 2-wall pass, hit that sidewall behind where your opponent's standing, it really puts him in a difficult position. That is, unless you're Paul Brady. He doesn't mind it. He's just waiting there for it.
Point. Come on, Nick.
There's a certain amount of holes in Nick's game with his left hand, especially when he's off balance.
Well, I see the shot selection is really a problem for Nikolai. He takes some balls out of the air that he should let bounce, and he takes some balls off the bounce that he probably could take out of the air. Also doesn't get himself in a good position to shoot the ball with his right hand.
That ball does not come back down. In a 4-wall court, that would have hit the ground immediately almost. This just carries out here.
When would he have ever attempted a shot like that in 4-wall, Dave?
He wouldn't have.
Okay, so then your point is?
It still would have done that if he would have attempted that. It just carries out here with that undercut. You cut under to hit that ceiling. It seems to just come back out.
1 plays 3.
1 serves 3.
Notwithstanding that conversation. That's a nice shot there from Nikolai. Now that's where he should be looking to step in. He does. That's a difficult shot there, Dave, because Emmett learned playing 1-wall. When you hit that overhand shot and you just snap that wrist down just a little bit, Dave, it puts that downspin on the ball when it hits the front wall, so that when you try and take that ball out of the air, you're just a little bit off. And Dave,
Look at that shot right there from Emmett.
I think you know what I'm talking about there. A beautiful kill there from Emmett. That's the first time we've seen him open up the kill with his right hand from the deep court there.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, like going over the ball and taking a little off.
It makes it so much more difficult to cut that ball out of the air, and that ball hits the front wall and spins
Slices
straight
down,
down.
yeah. Yeah, you have your timing right. It's not an easy, it's hard to begin with, but then when that ball slices down.
You see Nikolai does not put that same spin on the ball. That ball hits the front wall and just hangs up there. Emmett's waiting for it. Emmett hits the same shot and cuts that ball with his wrist. The only way you can really handle that ball out of the air with that cut spin is using that swing that Dave Chapman uses, where he uses that paddle and he's able to follow the ball down with his hand and just redirect that ball into the corners.
That was a short serve from Emmett, but I'm telling you, it looked really good.
Side up.
Beautiful technique there from Nikolai with his left hand. Squared himself nicely. He made those little adjustment steps, and he just rolled that ball right in front of himself.
1 plays 5.
Very nice looking shot.
One serves 5.
And you know, Dave, a lot of players shoot the ball better with their offhand just because they're have a lot better concentration shooting the ball with their offhand. They don't take it for granted. You know, Dave, a lot of times with your strong hand, you get a setup, you take it for granted, you get a little bit lazy and casual. You don't get yourself in the right position. There's an ace serve.
Nick's going to have to take a timeout here. 6-1 is the score.
Plays 1.
Emmett is showing everyone why he's the current 3-wall national champion. He's made the adjustments.
Emmett really just very impressive,
We're going to
Dave.
have to see a timeout here. And Nick is just going to walk off the court. So 7-1 is the score here for the game number 2. It was Emmett defeating Nikolai Nahorniak in that first game, 21-16. Emmett yesterday over Will Limp, 21-14 and 21-2. Then advancing to this one, it was Nikolai Nahorniak defeating Eric Hilgren in a tiebreaker, 11-1. After losing the first game 21-20, he comes back and wins the next game 21-10 and then 11-1. In the other brackets, as we go back down, it was Dane Zatkowski in a very entertaining match last night, the last match to air here on the live webcast, versus local favorite Ryan Willis, who nearly lost his life last year in a forklift accident. He had the forks of the forklift jostled up underneath a truck, and it popped him right underneath the chin and broke his jaw in 7 places and knocked out 8 teeth. And he was in critical condition there for a while. But he had a nice, strong match against Dane and lost 21-19, 21-17. And Andy Nett picked off Alan Garner yesterday, 21-18, 21-12. So we're going to see Nett versus Zatkowski playing the winner of this one. And it looks like Emmett Peixoto might be that winner.
8 plays 1.
8 serves 1.
This is a complete reversal, Dave, of the beginning of the first game where Emmett trailed 10-1, now just completely dominating this match. You know, Dave, it's just really a treat to watch. Really the best at his craft in the game, playing at the top of his game, as we're seeing with Emmett right now. Just a tremendous arsenal. Makes it look easy.
1 plays 8.
1 serves 8.
Deep.
That's deep.
You see, Dave, it's much easier to serve with the lead than it is to serve from behind.
Side out.
Those same serves, Dave, that are just bouncing just before that back line and hopping out of the court are now catching that sidewall, ending up a little bit long.
Good
Fortunate shot there from Nikolai. That ball could have easily bounced into the sidewall and popped up. That's what Emmett was expecting.
1 plays 8.
1 serves
Nikolai,
8.
Dave, relies solely on his power. Does not have those touch shots yet.
Point.
That's something that would really take his game to the next level if he was able to take a little bit off the ball up in the front court with his opponent behind him.
Long. I saw.
And you know, Dave, just how effective that can be to take something off the ball in the front court with your opponent behind you. We'll see a lot of that from Dave throughout this weekend. Taking that ball out of the air and just dying that ball into the corners.
8 plays 2.
8 serves 2.
I like that serve a lot from Emmett. You see, he gets the setup.
Wow.
That's eyes in the back of your head. He sensed Nikolai coming in to cover that kill.
And that down that right wall, and he popped it down the left.
9 plays 2.
9-2. I like this serve, too, from Emmett.
It's a real safe serve, Dave. It also saves you a lot of energy. And if it's working, there's no reason to not stay with that serve every time. You're not going to get a lot of free points on it, but you're going to get a lot of very easy returns, a lot of easy fly kill opportunities. You'll see a lot of 3-shot rallies with a serve like this. That's a nice return there from Nick. Beautiful. Emmett does really well to get that ball back, Dave.
Surprised he took with his left, even though it results in a point. If he takes that with his right, he can actually drive it down
I think
that
he
right wall.
was in position to hit that ball with his right, and the ball just came at a sharper angle than he expected. Had to turn around and take that ball with his left. There's a great serve.
That ball is out into the parking lot. You're watching the Wph Ektelon Fireball Handball Classic here in Kansas City, Kansas. First match of the morning on the live webcast between Emmett Peixoto and Nikolai Nahorniak. Was Dave Chapman yelling, "New ball." These balls are really fast, Mr. Fink.
Nice get there from Emmett. Oh. They did just bring a new ball in, Dave. I don't necessarily agree with that. Very difficult to bring in a new ball anytime, particularly when that ball is just over the other side of the fence. I'd like to see him get that ball and continue using it. I know I've talked about that before, Dave, on the webcast.
No, but I agree with you. You're right. Yesterday, a player went out and picked up all those balls that were around the neighborhood, brought them back, and we threw them in last night when the balls got hit back out in the neighborhood, and the players didn't miss a beat. They were game balls from this court.
I just think it's very difficult to adjust to a new ball when you've been playing with the same ball for about a game, half an hour, 45 minutes. There's a
beautiful serve. I saw that
looked
in.
like it was out.
I thought it was in, but you're in here because of your.
Was that out? You didn't call it in. I thought it was out.
I thought it was in.
Emmett actually coming up here to get that ball. We're not going to get it for him. That ball looked out. Emmett confirming that it was out.
I'm just a Carol bar.
Now Emmett's telling the referee that he thought it was out.
3 plays 11.
Even though the referee's right on top of that line, Dave, it's still difficult to make those calls. That's wow. Was that one of your shots, Dave? A 3-wall kill? Yours are sidewall, sidewall, front wall. That was sidewall, front wall, sidewall. So you might want to pick that shot up.
Yeah, I'm going to put it in that arsenal. You know, we're talking about how Nick looks a lot like Emmett Peixoto, but I see a lot of Luis Moreno in there too.
He's sort of the Luis Moreno of 3-wall.
That's right to you, Dave.
Hits that ball way out.
Maybe we can get a soundbite from Emmett as he comes over to get the ball right next to our booth.
Emmett's saying he didn't even hit that ball. Still talking about that new ball that's come in. That ball is just so lively,
It's like
Dave.
a rocket. Should call it the Red Rocket.
5 plays 11.
5 serves 11.
You know, Dave, when you combine the new ball with the cement and the heat, I mean, that ball just takes off at an unbelievable pace. Emmett gets the serve there. You know, with that nude ball, Dave, you're better off just driving that ball overhand right at your opponent's feet. It's too fast to handle.
Well, there's going to be a glove timeout here at the 3-wall courts in Kansas City, Kansas. Dave Vincent along with broadcast partner Dave Fink. On the camera here is Omar Lemus. Beautiful 3-wall courts. This is one of those events that you should put on the calendar for every single year. 3-wall pro stop, $4,000 for first place. You're watching the quarterfinal match between Emmett Peixoto and Nikolai Nahorniak. Emmett wins the first one 21-16, and now he's leading in this one. We looked back down to the bracket yesterday. It was Luis Moreno over St. Louis's Kevin Pettis, 21-10, 21-7. You defeated Marco Lemus by the score of 21-8, 21-19. You made a remark earlier that Marco could actually beat anyone in this tournament.
I believe that. I know Marco played Dave Chapman last year at LaGrange and really pushed Dave there, particularly in that first game.
It was Bill Michelis defeating Tommy Little, the first time he's ever done that on an outdoor 3-wall court, defeating him 21-16.
Billy really turning the tide on that rivalry. Beat Tommy in 4-wall just 2 months ago. Now taking Tommy out on his home 3-wall court just a couple months later. And that's what happens when you lose right there, Dave. Tommy picking up the trash.
Doing garbage duty. He defeated Tommy Little yesterday, 21-16, lost 21-10, but came back in the breaker, 11-4. It was Dave Chapman over David Brainerd, 21-1, 21-7. So it's Michelis versus Chapman at 1 o'clock today. Moreno versus you at 2 o'clock, and the one after this one is Dane Zatkowski versus Andy Net defeating Alan Garner with those amazing serves. We saw, how many aces did you record yesterday?
29 aces in 2 games.
Wow. So we're going to see what Dane can do to offset that amazing serve from Andy Net.
Actually, let me rephrase that. 29 unreturned serves. Allen able to get a fingertip on a number of those serves. An ace technically is a serve that you don't get your hand on, but we'll call those service winners or unreturned serves. 29 of them. Andy winning just about 75% of his points on his serve alone. Dave, I think you've played in a number of matches like that.
I got lucky one time at the Nationals. I had 19 aces in one game.
But who's counting?
I was playing Bitty Bittigan in the D's. Unfortunately for Nick, he made that about 3 times in the first game really early, and now he's going to it and he can't get it.
That's actually true. You'll hear a lot of players say they want players to make those kind of shots early in the match because then they'll keep going for them. And the percentages are in your favor when a player goes for low percentage shots. If he misses that shot, Dave, 6 or 7 times out of 10, that's winning handball for you. Nikolai now looks like his will has been broken here by the rock.
13 plays 5.
Doesn't have that same enthusiasm that he had in that first game. He really came out with the guns blazing.
That was a great return from Nikolai.
That's a great shot there.
Watch out.
You see our new resident garbage man, Tommy Little, actually putting that garbage can in the way of Emmett right there.
The players down in the first row not even alarming Emmett of how many feet he has to go before he breaks his leg on the bleachers. Very amazed that nobody helped him there.
I mean, when Kcac goes into the crowd there, you've got 100-pound women catching him. Kcac is 400 pounds. A little bit different here. Surprised I didn't get a response out of that analogy.
I think you did. Just not from me. Let's listen for the score here.
13 plays 5.
13-5.
That's a nice return there from Nikolai. Catches that side wall. I'm surprised Emmett didn't take that with his right. Looked like it could have been a setup to me.
That was not a great return from Emmett, and then a worse one from Nikolai. 14-5 is the score here. Second game, Emmett wins the first one, 21-16.
Nikolai's basically spotted Emmett here, a 9-point lead. Emmett just 7 points from winning this quarterfinal match. The last thing Nikolai can afford are those sort of silly unforced errors.
There's a timeout called from Emmett Peixoto here.
14-5.
You're watching this live webcast, courtesy of the WPH and Ektelon. We also appreciate the fact that you're here tuning in today on a Saturday.
It's funny because he just put that there like 2 seconds before he got there.
Do consider purchasing your WPH membership. As a special incentive during the live webcast, we are giving you a free dry fit t-shirt, like you see some of the pros wearing around here. The white dry fit with the WPH logo on it. A free Dave Chapman instructional DVD. He's selling that on his website for originally it's $60. We have that for you free if you join the WPH, and also all of the other goodies that are part of the basic membership package or whatever package you want to buy. It's at thehandballstore.com.
Dave actually promises that your game will go up 1 level. I think we saw that with you, Dave. You went from a D to a C after watching that video.
D- to a C-.
14 plays
Okay.
5.
I toggle sometimes C+.
Short.
That's a short ball.
Second.
Omar's game, our cameraman, would go from non-existent to existent. He'd go from 0 to D. He'd be nothing to a novice.
Oh, that's a great shot there from Emmett. You see, he catches that side wall just with the right hand and that spin. It hits the side wall and just straightens out almost like it didn't even touch the side wall and picks up speed. We'll have to ask Emmett, Dave, if he intended to hit that shot. It looked to me like he was just trying to drive that ball back down the left, and that's out.
You already know what Emmett's going to say if you bring that up, by the way.
Actually, I don't. That's why I was going to ask him.
He's going to say yes.
16 plays 5.
16 to 5 here.
Some sand could be won here, and this
Is going to be one, actually. That ball's coming right back to Nick.
Nikolai still just a young kid, Dave. You know, the last thing to come is basically that mental toughness.
17 plays 5.
In my opinion, for some like yours truly, it never comes. But you see, a lot of these guys, Dave, just don't have that mental toughness until they get to be about 23 or 24. We saw that with Paul Brady, Dave. Always a tremendous player, but then it was just sort of like at about 2004, it really all clicked for Paul. Paul at that time was about 24 years old when he really started to take over handball, and certainly the shots always were there.
Plays 5.
Score is 18 to 5.
Very similar with
Well, you saw the mental toughness come in from Sean Lenning at a real young age, as well as Dave Chapman, and at times we feel like we see it from Luis Moreno. We're going to watch him play a little later
I think
on.
it's more like you need about 3 or 4 years at that pro level, Dave, to really
19 plays 5.
build up that mental stamina, that mental toughness that you need. You know, we know Sean started playing at that top pro level when he was just 16. Emmett started when he was about 19. You need that 3 or 4 years on the circuit. Nikolai now just in about his first year playing against the top dogs.
Second serve.
It's a good return, but Emmett's feeling really good right now. You can see, and that's another point.
You see Nikolai frustrated with himself, but that just isn't the right shot. He's trying to take a ball that was hit 78 miles per hour, dipping it at his feet, and fly kill it with his left. Surprised Emmett shot that, but put enough hop on that ball, Dave, where that ball ran away from Nikolai, and now Emmett takes that game comfortably.
Emmett wins this match 21 to 16, 21 to 5. And now advances to the semifinals here in Kansas City for the Wph Ektelon Fireball Handball Classic. We have Nikolai Nahorniak going to referee, get ready to referee this match, as the other guys are pretty much ready. Dane Zakowski and Andy Nett, and I guarantee you this is going to be one heck of a match. It's coming up right around the corner for Omar Lemus and Dave Fink. We're going to take about a 15-minute break. We'll be back in just a bit here at WPH Live.